Hello and welcome to German Lessons with Mr. Ferguson. Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum Deutschunterricht mit Herrn Ferguson. Diese grammatische Stunde, this grammar lesson, heißt Demonstrative Pronomen, Demonstrative Pronouns. Before wir anfangen, please remember to like this video. Bitte klickt gefällt mir and to subscribe to my channel so that I can keep helping you with your German. Bitte vergesst nicht zu abonnieren. If you're enjoying my videos, please consider buying me a coffee by clicking the banner now. All contributions are gratefully received and allow me to continue to bring you new and exciting German content whilst keeping it free to access on YouTube. Thank you to those of you who have already contributed. It's very much appreciated. Vielen Dank. In this lesson, we'll be looking at a type of word in German called a demonstrative pronoun. These are so called because they demonstrate which thing you're referring to. Let's have a look at some English examples. I don't like this book, but I love that one. I've been looking for a jumper, but I hate this one. This is the same man I spoke to earlier. He's the one who bought me a coffee. The demonstrative pronouns in the above examples are this, that one, this one, the same, and the one. To use demonstrative pronouns in German, it's important that you have an understanding of the definite articles and the corresponding adjective endings in German. And so if you don't know what these are or how they work, you can watch the definite articles section of my adjective endings in German video by clicking the banner now. The definite articles in German are der, die, das, die in the nominative case, den, die, das, die in the accusative case, dem, der, dem, den, plus an N on the noun in the dative case, and des plus an S on the noun, der, des plus S, and der in the genitive case. In German, there are lots of different types of demonstrative pronoun, and I will list the ones we'll be looking at here before going into more detail about each of them. Using an article to replace a noun when context is established, putting stress on an article to show that you're talking about a specific thing, using das to replace a whole concept or sentence, replacing an article with the words this when an object is near to you, or that when an object is further away, saying the one or the ones who when giving more information in a relative clause. If you aren't sure what a relative clause is, I'd recommend going back to learn what those are by clicking the banner now. Saying the same one or the same ones if two nouns are the same. So, let's look at using an article, der, die, das, etc., to replace a noun. Die Stiefel gefallen mir. The boots please me, or I like the boots. This is a standard sentence in which we're talking about some specific boots. If you're in a shop looking at different boots, you can simply say, die gefallen mir, which would translate as these ones please me, or I like these ones. As the context of boots has been made clear by the situation, you wouldn't need to say Stiefel here. There is a slight change in the table that you've learnt here, and it's as follows. The den plus n in the dative plural box becomes denen, as is the case with relative clauses. Similarly, des plus s in the masculine and neuter genitive boxes become dessen, and der in the feminine genitive line becomes deren. The plural of the genitive line becomes deren or derer. We'll come back to this shortly. The genitive demonstrative pronoun dessen for masculine and neuter and deren for feminine are rare in this context, and they are much more commonly used to form a relative clause. An example of how denen is used could be Ich habe es denen gegeben, die gar nichts haben. I've given it to those who have absolutely nothing. One way you might see dessen as a demonstrative pronoun is as follows. Dessen war ich mir nicht bewusst. I was not aware of that. As I mentioned, the plural genitive demonstrative pronoun can either be deren or derer. And this depends on whether it refers to something ahead or whether it refers back to something that's already been said. For example, use deren when the demonstrative pronoun comes after the noun it describes, as you would for a relative clause. This essentially translates as whose when the noun is plural. For example, es gibt viele Leute, deren Häuser groß sind. There are lots of people whose houses are big. The deren refers to lots of people, which was mentioned before. Use derer if you want to translate of those, followed by a relative clause with more information. For example, die Menge derer, die auch ein teures Auto haben, ist hoch. The number of those who also have an expensive car is high. Derer relates to the who also have an expensive car, and it therefore refers to the further information given after its use. Another way in which dessen for masculine and neuter and deren for feminine are used is to determine who an object belongs to. It's not really a demonstrative pronoun, but it seems sensible to mention it here. For example, Anna und Clara verbringen Zeit mit ihren Eltern und ihren Freunden. Anna and Clara are spending time with their parents and their friends. In this example, it's not clear whether the friends are Anna and Clara's friends, or whether the friends are friends of Anna and Clara's parents. If you stick to this version, it implies the former, that the parents and the friends belong to Anna and Clara. If you write Anna und Clara verbringen Zeit mit ihren Eltern und deren Freunden, it clarifies that the friends belong to the parents, the last noun mentioned before deren. Here's a similar example using dessen. Jürgen ist mit seinem Vater und seiner Freundin im Park. Jürgen is in the park with his father and his girlfriend. Again, it's unclear whether it's Jürgen's girlfriend or whether it's Jürgen's father's girlfriend. And if we stick with this version, it implies that Jürgen is with his father and with his own, i.e. Jürgen's girlfriend. If we say Jürgen ist mit seinem Vater und dessen Freundin im Park, this new version clarifies that Jürgen is in the park with his father and his father's girlfriend. Dessen refers back to the last noun used before it, which was Vater. Before we move on to other words used as demonstrative pronouns, it's worth pointing out that you can simply emphasize an article to convey the meaning of this, these, or that. If we take the previous example of boot shopping, and you spot a pair of boots that you particularly like, you can say, Die Stiefel gefallen mir. These boots please me, or I like these boots. Another example might be, Magst du diese Bluse? Do you like this blouse? Ja, die finde ich gut. Yes, I find this one good. In what seems like a slightly unusual way to English speakers, you can also use der and die and their declensions to denote a person. Sometimes people might introduce themselves with der or die in front of their names. Hallo, ich bin die Mia. Guten Tag, ich bin der Paul. There is a German TV show which demonstrates this, which used to be called Schlag den Raab, which translates as Beat Raab, and that was when media personality Stefan Raab hosted the show. It's now called Schlag den Hensler, as it's hosted by famous chef Stefan Hensler. The TV show is based around a member of the public beating the host at a number of different and sometimes bizarre activities. But schlagen is to beat, and we use den here because the hosts, both male, are the direct object, which means we use the accusative case. So, when context is established, you can simply replace the person's name with the correct article. For example, Hast du heute Michael gesehen? Have you seen Michael today? Nein, den habe ich nicht gesehen. No, him I haven't seen. As is also probably quite clear, you can use the word das to replace a full sentence of information. For example, Wir müssen die Hausaufgaben machen. We have to do the homework. Ja, das weiß ich. Yes, I know, or yes, I know that. Es gibt einen neuen James Bond Film im Kino. There's a new James Bond film in the cinema. Das ist voll cool. That's really cool, as in, the fact that there is a new James Bond film in the cinema is cool. The next two demonstrative pronouns are the ways of saying this when something is close by in either time or in terms of its location, and that when something is further away. The word this in the masculine nominative form is dieser. The great news about the word dieser is that it exactly mirrors the definite article der. Look at the two tables together. Dieser, diese, dieses, diese. Diesen, diese, dieses, diese. Diesem, dieser, diesem, diesen, plus an N on the noun. Dieses, plus an S on the noun. Dieser, dieses, plus an S on the noun. And dieser. As I'm sure you can see, instead of the D of der, this has essentially been replaced with dies. For example, nominative masculine. Dieser Hut steht mir nicht. This hat does not suit me. Accusative masculine. Ich mag diesen Hut nicht. I don't like this hat. Dative feminine. Ich habe mit dieser Frau gesprochen. I spoke with this woman. Genitive neuter. Die Farbe dieses Autos gefällt mir. The colour of this car pleases me. Or I like the colour of this car. The word that is jener and follows the exact same patterns. Jener, jene, jenes, jener. Jenen, jene, jenes, jene. Jenem, jener, jenem, jenen. Plus an N on the noun. Jenes plus S on the noun. Jener, jenes plus S on the noun. And jener. You use this pronoun if the thing you're talking about is further away, and you can combine it with the phrase dort drüben, meaning over there, or dort hinten, meaning back there. Jenes T-Shirt dort drüben ist sehr teuer. That T-shirt over there is very expensive. Siehst du jenen Mann dort hinten? Do you, informal singular, see that man back there? In day-to-day life, you will rarely hear jener and its declensions, and you will much more commonly simply hear the definite article combined with dort drüben or dort hinten. For example, das T-Shirt dort drüben ist sehr teuer. That T-shirt over there is very expensive. Siehst du den Mann dort hinten? Do you, informal singular, see that man back there? The next demonstrative pronoun to talk about is derjenige and its declensions, which can be translated as the one or the ones. This demonstrative pronoun is always combined with a relative clause. Let's look at some examples in English and then translate them into German. He's the one who sold me the computer. She's the one I want to spend time with. There are lots of people here and I want to speak to the ones I know. Your children are the ones being loud. As you can probably see, the word derjenige is one word, but it's made up of what looks like the definite article der and what can be thought of as an adjective, jenig. This isn't actually a usable adjective in German, but it helps to demonstrate how the endings of these demonstrative pronouns decline. With the definite articles, the adjective endings depend on their location, either within or outside of what I call the frying pan. Articles inside the frying pan are used with the adjective ending e, and articles outside the frying pan are used with the adjective ending en, and the same happens with derjenige. The table, therefore, looks like this. Derjenige, diejenige, dasjenige, diejenigen, denjenigen, diejenige, dasjenige, diejenigen, demjenigen, derjenigen, demjenigen, denjenigen, desjenigen, derjenigen, desjenigen, derjenigen. So, let's translate the previous sentences. Ist derjenige, der mir den Computer verkauft hat. We use the nominative with the verb sein, as we treat it like an equals sign, and the subject is which is a masculine pronoun. We therefore need the masculine nominative version of derjenige, which is just derjenige. Sie ist diejenige, mit der ich Zeit verbringen möchte. Again, we use nominative with sein, but the subject here is sie, a feminine pronoun. We therefore use the nominative feminine version of derjenige, which is diejenige. Es gibt hier viele Leute, und ich möchte mit denjenigen sprechen, die ich kenne. As we've used mit and are referring to people, Leute, which is a plural noun, we need to use the dative plural version of derjenige, which is denjenigen. Deine Kinder sind diejenigen, die laut sind. Once more, we use the nominative with sein, And deine Kinder is a plural noun, so we use the nominative plural of derjenige, which is diejenigen. The last demonstrative pronoun is derselbe, meaning the same or the same ones. Similarly to derjenige, derselbe will reflect the changes in the article and the accompanying adjective ending, but it's used as one word. Its table is as follows. Derselbe, dieselbe, dasselbe, dieselben, denselben, dieselbe, dasselbe, dieselben, demselben, derselben, demselben, denselben plus an N on the noun, desselben plus S on the noun, derselben, desselben plus S on the noun, derselben. Here are some examples. Meine Schwester und ich haben dieselben Interessen. My sister and I have the same interests. Mein Hund spielt immer mit denselben Spielzeugen. My dog always plays with the same toys. And so, those are the most commonly used types of demonstrative pronoun in German, as well as some examples of how to use them. They generally behave the same way as the definite article, including when used with adjectives, and so it's really crucial that you understand how to form those in the different genders and cases. It's a good idea to pause the video now to recap the different types of demonstrative pronoun and the situations in which they should be used. Habe ich etwas vergessen? If you're a native German speaker and think I've forgotten any useful information about demonstrative pronouns, or can think of any examples using the more difficult ones, such as dessen or deren, please do let me know by writing a comment. Bitte schreibt einen Kommentar. Also, please remember to click subscribe to receive all of my German lesson videos, language learning tips and updates. You can also follow me on Instagram with the username Herr Ferguson and on Twitter under @HerrFerguson. Otherwise, from me, it's Danke und auf Wiedersehen.